Hello, my name is Dimitri Potoglou. I am Associate Professor in the School of Geography and Planning at Cardiff University in the UK, and also one of the key partners in this new exciting project on IG Car for ITS, which is an initiative through the Connect for Innovation Fund established by the British Council. And this initiative aims to bring together UK and Turkey's higher education institutions through partnerships. In this presentation, I'll just give you a little bit of background about my expertise, but also the expertise we have developed over the years at Cardiff University and are relevant to this project. In terms of my background, I hold a PhD in Transport Geography and Traveler Behavior. I did my studies at McMaster University, and my thesis focused on car ownership and demand for cleaner vehicles. So the aim of my work there was try to understand why people choose a number of cars and how that relates to the built environment. So where they live, what kind of opportunities they have to encourage or not discourage their travel and the need for cars. I've also looked at the demand for alternative fuel vehicles with an application in the city of Hamilton in Canada. Also, I've done a master's in environmental engineering and also a bachelor's in environmental studies from universities in Greece, the National Technical University of Athens and the University of Aegean, based on Lesbos Island. In terms of my work experience, it's been nearly 10 years now. I work for Cardiff University at different positions, from lecturer to senior lecturer and now associate professor. But I've also worked for a public policy research institute called RAND Europe. RAND Europe is the European arm of a policy research institute based in Santa Monica in the United States called RAND Corporation. I spent about 4 years working in different projects there, including transport, but also other areas studying people's choices and how people make different choices in different contexts, including, for example, health and healthcare, social care, and so on. Shortly after finishing my PhD, I also spent about a year and a half at the Technical University of Delft as a postdoctoral fellow in mobility studies, where I had the opportunity to do further research based on my doctoral studies and the research I developed there. Recently, I'm more interested in the decarbonization of the road transport system through electrification, and in particular, I'm very much interested into charging preferences or preferences for business models. As we know, there are different ways of recharging electric vehicles, ranging from smart charging to fast charging, super fast charging, but also these options will come with different levels of pricing and different amenities around the charging points. So it's very important to try to capture how people respond to these different options. And also, I'm very much interested in different business models of electric vehicle use. At the moment, we're looking at cases where people would own their car, but in the future this may change, and we may have, for example, options for pay for travel, and in this case people may be leasing or just using shared vehicle options, shared electric vehicles under different platforms, for example. Another area which very much draws from the first point is the demand for and market segmentation of alternative fuel vehicles. In other ways, trying to understand how people will react to different features of electric vehicles, but also recognizing that different groups of people have different tastes. In this case, we want to explore how different groups have different choices and options and preferences. I've also specialized in a survey-based methodology, which is called stated preference discrete choice experiments. So this is about advanced survey methods, trying to look at options that are not available on markets right now, or hypothetical policy options that are not available, and trying to capture how people will react to different options, which are described by a number of characteristics. I'm also interested in areas like commuting, travel satisfaction and well-being, trying to capture people's reactions to the quality of travel and experience they have using, for example, modern apps, and also land use and transport interactions, the role of the built environment and network design on how people make different travel decisions. Also, an area that it's emerging and it's quite a bit of interest is active travel. So what people would like to see in order to be encouraged to walk and cycle more. But more generally, I'm interested in the governance and management of public transport systems. So how different stakeholders effectively interact to encourage people to walk, cycle, use public transport systems more, but also how large-scale projects can actually materialize and be implemented as actual operating systems. Now, in terms of the wider transport research that is being undertaken at Cardiff University, at the moment we have one big initiative which is called the DTE Plus network. DTE stands for Decarbonizing Transport Through Electrification. This is a whole system approach. It aims to identify and address challenges for electrification of transport for different modes, road, rail, air, and so on, and looks into the following areas: vehicles, charging infrastructure, electrical supply, and smart mobility. In terms of the smart mobility, two crucial areas we're looking at is new business models and alternative transportation modes. This project is led by Professor Liana Sipsigan in the School of Engineering, and my role is there to enhance the area of smart mobility and engage stakeholders in the area of smart mobility. We also have an electric vehicle center of excellence, which aims to bring together different experts across a number of schools in Cardiff University and looks into investigating the facilitators and barriers towards electric and smart mobility. We also have the Sustainable Transport Futures Network, again bringing together a number of experts across different schools at Cardiff University and aims to cover all modes of transport, and the focus here is to understand the impacts of mobility and transport systems. Now, in terms of the different skills and education opportunities we offer to prospective students, we have for a number of years running a Master's in Transport and Planning. This Master's is offered by the School of Geography and Planning at Cardiff University. It's a full-time enrollment of 1 year. The modules we offer as part of this Master's cover transport economics, transport modeling, transport and the city, which is a field study visit. Normally we would look into projects being undertaken in London and Kent, and also transport analysis, a module that looks into enhancing analytical skills of students in terms of how to collect data, survey data, and also how to analyze survey data. And also sustainable transport policies, which looks into the different transport policies in the UK and beyond. And finally, in the last term, there is also a dissertation, a master's dissertation, where students do independent research work. So the master's aims to cover different aspects of transport, including planning, policy, operation, and management, but also linked to urban planning and policy in order to address real-world issues. So through the modules, but also the dissertation, the aim is to gain principles of practice of transport scheme appraisal and evaluation, and enable students to understand and use statistical modeling methods for analyzing travel behavior and a range of transport options. The program is recognized by a number of professional bodies in terms of fulfilling the academic or educational requirements. So it's recognized by the Chartered Institute for Highways and Transportation, the Transport Planning Society, and also the Royal Town Planning Institute. Cardiff University is offering a number of Master of Excellence scholarships, and I have provided the link here in case you would like to explore a little bit more of what the process might be. Now, in terms of doctoral level research, there are two ways. One is through a PhD in Spatial Planning and Analysis in City Environments. This is one of the research groups operating in the School of Geography and Planning, and it is possible to apply also for the Vice Chancellor's International Scholarships. At the moment, I have 4 PhD students who work in different areas around decarbonizing transport, and in particular road transport. So we are looking at charging preferences, active travel, but also priorities of eliciting people's priorities in terms of what would encourage them to walk and cycle more. So we're trying to develop survey instruments to be able to elicit these kind of preferences by the general population. There is also the Sustainable Transport Interdisciplinary Doctoral Training Hub. This is a collaboration across a number of schools in the university, including engineering, geography and planning, psychology, computer science, but also we involve a number of stakeholders and policymakers. The aim of this hub is to create a strong cohort of researchers who develop skills beyond the specialist topic of their PhD and develop networks across universities and industry. So it offers a very much unique program to provide a holistic understanding of the entire transport industry. Now, we are very excited to join the IG CAR for ITS, a project, a collaborative project between a UK university and a Turkish university. As you are already aware, there are 3 primary themes of this project. One is to enhance student skills sets and industry needs, and we very much hope that the interaction between a UK and Turkish university will do that by sharing experiences and providing input and feedback to what each other are doing. So we aim to provide critical input to academics in order to improve their skills in terms of pedagogy, student affairs, mentoring, and career counseling. And also, we very much contribute to the climate change and climate emergency agenda, the green university agendas, and the green careers with impact on students' employability and skills. So we very much try to enhance students' skills and employability by offering an opportunity for further education. Finally, in this last part of my presentation, I would like to give you a little bit of an insight of Cardiff and what has been happening here in terms of its current state, but also how intelligent transport systems may help to address key issues, transport issues in the city. At the moment, Cardiff is among those urban centers that have a lot of pressure because of commuting. And in particular, Cardiff attracts about 100,000 commuters per day, and these are pre-COVID numbers. 80% of those, so nearly 80,000 car commuters, come into the city. So you can imagine that this is a very much pressure for the system. It creates a lot of congestion problems, with actually Cardiff being one of the most congested cities in the UK. Why this is happening? Well, because the road network was developed many years ago, around 50 years ago, to accommodate travel needs of 200,000 people. At the moment, if we account the people who live in Cardiff, but also commuters, shoppers, visitors, the number of people that the population, the daily population in the city very much reaches 500,000. So there is a very big mismatch between the available infrastructure and the travel demand that is taking place. So you can see here there is an estimate that 9 people who live in Cardiff spend about 19 days a year just being stuck in Cardiff. So the Cardiff Council is taking an initiative here to address congestion issues, but also address issues around climate emergency, clean air, and also providing safer and healthy communities. This map here just provides an overview of the future pressure as well. So there are a number of areas at the moment being developed, and you can see here the kind of pressure that is expected in terms of how many people will be traveling by car, how many people will be traveling by bus over the next few years. So it is more timely than ever to manage the transport needs of this growing city, which, by the way, is one of the fastest growing among major UK cities. And of course, ITS, Intelligent Transport Systems, new technologies more broadly offer some opportunities to improve daily life in Cardiff and beyond, of course. So there are opportunities to replace older, more polluting cars with cleaner vehicles powered by electricity or hydrogen. As you can see, one of the pictures here shows one of the charging stations that are owned by Cardiff Council. That's the top, the picture at the top. There is also a smart city parking. As you can see at the bottom photo, you can see that there is a sensor here which detects whether there is an empty space and also monitors how often parking space is being used throughout the year. Other opportunities and other technologies include on-demand taxi services and lift sharing services. Of course, autonomous vehicles provide an opportunity, especially for remote areas, to fill the gaps in the transport network. And as I mentioned earlier, mobility as a service, which is a new concept offering travelers to buy travel instead of owning a car. Another initiative for the city of Cardiff is what is called here the Smart Corridor, that a pilot is due to take place in this northern corridor, as you can see on the map. So the aim here is to use extensive real-time data to intelligently manage the movement of traffic, public transport, pedestrians and cyclists into the city, and very much giving priority to people who walk and cycle or use public transport. This smart corridor is also expected to influence travel behavior because it would help people to make better and more informed choices, more informed travel decisions, and thus support modal shift. In other words, to encourage people to move away from car and use other modes to travel. And as I mentioned, a pilot is said to be implemented in the northern corridor of Cardiff. With this slide, I would like to close my opening talk for this exciting project. I've included my contact details in case you wish to get in touch. Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to working with Dr. Metin in this very exciting project. Goodbye.